us here of our own device. And in the master's chambers, they're gathered for their feast. They stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't kill the beast. Last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find a passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the night man, we are programmed to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Nibbling on sponge cake, watching the sun bake. All of those tourists covered with oil, strumming my six string on my front porch swing. Smell those shrimp, they're beginning to boil. Wasting away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost sugar or salt. Some people claim that there's a woman to blame, but I know it's nobody's fault. Don't know the reason, stayed here all season. Nothing to show but this brand new tattoo. But it's a real beauty, a Mexican cutie. How it got here, I haven't a clue. Wasting away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost sugar or salt. Some people claim that there's a woman but there's booze in the blender, and soon it will render that frozen concoction that helps me hang on. Wasting away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost sugar and salt. Some people claim that there's a woman to blame, but I know it's my own damn fault. Yes, and some people claim that there's a woman to blame, and I know it's my own damn fault.
Here comes the sun, here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And I say it's alright. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. It's alright. It's alright.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get That's a Rap tour underway. And just like the sun, here he comes, the one and only Paolo Gambino.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest show on earth. That's a Rap. Memoirs of the Dark Prince. We're here to laugh, hear some stories and sordid tales of our friend Robbie Bastion. My name's Paolo Gambino and I've been tasked to be your MC for this afternoon's proceedings. I won't intend for 1 minute to try to emulate any sense of quick wit or charisma. For it is Robbie that provided all of that over the years that I knew him and admired him. And whilst many of today's guests are indeed comedic in their own right, it was truly Mr. Bastion that in my mind will go down as the quickest witted man that I will ever have the privilege of knowing. A special hello to Robbie's industry friends and colleagues around the world who've gathered and who I'm sure are here with us in spirit. Let's all say hello to them. They're in one of those cameras. I graced the stage but twice with Robbie, and once with very little preparation, to the point that I just followed his lead and played purely the support to the main Bastion act of the day. The second was a much more refined, well-rehearsed piece during another ATEC function held here in Cairns, and God Made Tourism, which Robbie and Andrew Deneen both played a major part in writing and performing their respective roles. Some crowning moments were the institutions that Robbie was instrumental in cementing into his everyday life. Secret Men's Business, Thursdays held here at the Trinity Beach Tavern. Poignant, don't you think, that we've gathered here on a Thursday? Tosses, Tourism Operators Special Services Awards. The significant awards from tourism industry bodies including the TNQ Hall of Fame with Parker Travel Collection and the outstanding contribution to industry from ATEC, and the never-to-be-forgotten roadshow called Paradise Found, which no doubt we shall hear more of throughout the afternoon. These institutions had Robbie policies attached to them. 1, you had to be invited. 2, there was a strict no dickheads policy. And 3, it was all about relationships before business. Sell the country, sell the region, and then we'll worry about which boat they'll go on, he would often say. Today's proceedings will see us meeting a number of special guests that have been hand-chosen to have their stories and reflections on the great man repeated in a PG lifestyle time slot. So to get things going, a man who needs little introduction. They had a friendship of some 30 years, travelled the world together selling the destination first with passion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ron Livingston.
Well, good afternoon. I haven't seen this many people in the tourism industry for 9 years. And it's 9 years since I retired. But it's bloody good to see you all. Robbie Bastion and I were great mates, as Paolo just said. And up to the last, he rang me on the Sunday before he passed and said he couldn't go to South America because he wasn't well enough. And the next call I got was from his beautiful daughter Jessica at 6:32 next morning. And as soon as I heard her voice, I knew what it was about. So thanks for coming, and I'm going to read this stuff because there's a chance we might have to have a stoppage. Today is the day I wish had never happened. But before I tell you some Bastion stories in a poem about him, I want to read you something. Robbie prepared some letters to be read after his passing, and I was one of the recipients. This is where the request of the MC about being nice and not swearing goes out the window, because they're Robbie's words, not mine. In part, he said to me, well, this is all pretty fucked, eh?
Closer to the mic, Ron, they can't hear.
I'm trying really hard. I used to work in radio and I should know better. He went on to say, if you get to read this, then everything's gone pear-shaped. Still, no use crying over spilt milk. Remember the good times, and there were plenty of those. Trips overseas, Melbourne Cup Day, and laughs over long lunches. Thanks, mate. I loved every minute. Would you mind saying a few words at my service? You're a great speaker, but keep it light. He wrote that on the 12th of August, 2013. In the time between 2013 and now, some years back, we were doing something we didn't do often, that's have coffee at Lunico's. It was usually other beverages. And he said to me, now Ronnie, You're not allowed to die before me because I've got you down to speak at my funeral. So it is. At this stage, I'd just like to pass on my sincere condolences to Jessica and James and the 5 grandkids. I loved Robbie like a brother. We shared a lot, and I watched him build relationships all over the world. We were mates through thick and thin. He knew my family and I knew his. This sort of friendship is very hard to find. Last page of that one is stapled together. We found and treasured that friendship over all the years that we knew each other. I'll miss him terribly over the next period of time, forever probably, and it all started in Johannesburg. I'll tell you about that another time. Okay, so when I was asked by Mr. Bastion to speak, I wrote a speech. Thanks, Andrew.
Done.
You're a good man. Yeah, throw it in the bin. And I wrote this bloody thing that was longer than the book of Genesis. And I was awarded a fine by the organiser who said I had to trim it. But in the meantime, my wife, who works at the Cairns Museum, knows a volunteer there who's really good at AI. So she gave him a copy of the speech, the draft of the speech, and what I'm about to read to you now is the result of what he did with it. So if you hear things that I mention in here and you don't recognise or understand what I mean, please feel free later on to ask me questions about it. This is in fairly small type, so I'll do my best. We gather today in a circle of mates to honour a legend who kicked open gates. In boardrooms, in beer halls, on backstreet cafe floors, Robbie Bastion sold cans like nobody before. He wasn't just good, he was bloody outstanding. One of the first to hit the tarmac for branding. He'd charm them in London and woo them in Rome and then crack a bad joke on the flight home. A larrikin soul with a laugh like a spark. You'd hear it light up in the bar or the park. In meetings or mischief, he always showed face. A true people person who knew every place. From Melbourne Cup mayhem to fine dining flair, from Quicksilver tours to rocking his RM pair, he built something bigger than bookings or flights. He built bloody connections and long boozy nights. Ain't that the truth? And if you knew Robbie, you'll know this is true. He'd roast you with love and then shout lunch for 2. A heart full of banter, a mind sharp as steel. He called it like it was, no polished up spiel. There was that night in Chipping Camden. Hello, Vicky. This is about you, love. There was that night in Chipping Camden, you see, a tin hat on his head, his eyes locked cheekily. A heart full of to Vicky he grinned, when we wed I insist, I'll be Robbie Williams and you won't resist. Her name's Vicky Williams and he said that in my presence. Hope you're enjoying this, Vicky. They all know you now, girl. There's a tale of the 14 to 1. Flash Horizon ran home and the boys had some fun. Jimmy will remember this. With new RM boots, he strutted like gold. Those flash boots kicked stories too good to be told. Through storms on a ferry, gales on a coach, through dodgy hotel rooms where no Wi-Fi approached, he was there with joke and wine in hand, helping sell Queensland no matter the land. But it wasn't just travel or passports or sales, it was Robbie, the bloke, with the best kind of tales. He gave people joy. He gave silence a crack, not often. He gave friendship that never expected one back. But it wasn't just... Sorry, I've done that bit, haven't I? Yes. He didn't want boards or big titles to chase. He built his own legend on loyalty and face. He argued with TNQ, ATEC, and the press, but always with passion, and sometimes with finesse. Not often either, anyway. He leaves behind Jessica, James, grandkids 5, and more stories than any pub yarn can survive. He was funny, he was fierce, he was real through and through, a loyal old rogue, and the best kind of true. So raise your glass high to the man that we toast, to Robbie who lived large from coast to coast. From Joburg to Munich, from Vegas to here, he gave us a connection, a hug and a beer. Cheers, Robbie. You were one of a kind, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Our next special guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who was a deckhand on Ocean Spirit and who would refer to Rob as Roberto, but mainly Robbie. Their friendship broadened the horizons beyond the boat decks, leading Robbie to become an MC star and to go on to host many a State of Origin game at the Cairns Casino. Would you please welcome Johnny J.R. Reardon.
Ronnie, you are tall, but thanks for leaving it down for me. Hello. I'm just as surprised to be up here as you are surprised to see me. I'm not talking about a lot of tourism stories. I'm going to tell you a story about Robbie later in life. Hello, Paolo.
Hello, JR. You were a know-it-all deckhand
No.
who was told that the Quicksilver head honchos were coming on board. What happened?
I got a call. Well, that's where I started out, basically tourism career. Some might say what career. It was October 1988, and Dad rang me and said, "Dopey, are you working tomorrow?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You've got some very important people coming out." I said, "Okay, that's pretty good. You've got the Quicksilver marketing team." Now, I'd met Max earlier, so I knew him, but I hadn't met Chrissy Cowens and I hadn't met Robbie Bastion. So it was a beautiful October day. It was quite hot. I think, Chrissy, you're here. You would probably remember that day. I don't know if Burgess or Max came out, but I remember there were three of you. And I'm a lot younger than you, and I'm even forgetting. But I do know, Paolo, it was a very special occasion for the Quicksilver marketing team to come out. We were only we were 6 months old, so it meant quite a bit.
What about your first pilot strike?
Oh, hang on. I'll just go back.
Your first pilot strike.
There was one thing I meant to say.
That's right, yes.
They enjoyed the day out of Michaelmas Cay, and when I met Robbie, he was a really buff, really fit, really super strong looking bloke, and I thought, "You're quite handsome," but there was one thing, and he was in his Speedos, and he had a very small penis. And I look back on that now, and it must have been the prerequisite to get a job at Quicksilver. You only have to ask Michael Healy. I've waited a long time, Healy.
Round one to John Reardon. Round one to John Reardon.
JR, would you like to tell us about your first ATE and perhaps the pilot strike?
Yeah, well, I hadn't... so that was October, and then around February, March, I got off the boat and joined the Ocean Spirit marketing team, which was basically me. Ross Edwards didn't like to spend much money, and it was a beautiful boat. So anyway, I quickly got the application into ATE for '89. I think it was May, and I get this phone call. "Johnny, it's Robbie Bastion from Quicksilver." I've gone, shit. I froze. Have I pissed him off already? And I thought, well, we only carry 150 people some days, and I'm up against Quicksilver here, you know. But something you just said before that was really drilled into me in the early days: you sell the product, you sell the area or the region, and you sold Australia. And I'm so glad I heard that. I've forgotten about that, and it resonated with me for a very long time. So, yeah, we went to, he said, "Look, I'm ringing up because I'd like to get together with you and have a coffee or a beer, and we'll talk about ATE." And I was just blown away. So from that moment onwards, we got together. We had a great time. I've known him for 35 years. It was a great friendship. But the pilot strike, we barely put our bags down after ATE and the Tourism Awards, which Ocean Spirit won. And... no, I can't say it to him. And those bloody pilots, the news came out, and the pilots had walked out. It was devastating. It was horrendous. Now, I know there's people in the room here, hands up, who went through that time. The majority, yeah, just about all of you. Parlo, millions of dollars in bookings wiped out virtually overnight. There was panic everywhere. People at the airport couldn't get home domestically. Thank God we still had the international airport. And banks foreclosing businesses, mortgages. So Toddy Parker, Robbie and myself met up at Munro Martin Park, where I reckon there was over 1,000 people. And people are crying, people are angry. It was brutal. As I just said, they lost their homes and businesses. So it was a real eye-opener, and we're lucky we still had our jobs. Cairns lost virtually 5,000 hospitality workers overnight. They had to get home back to South Australia, Melbourne and Sydney and so forth. There was just no work. No work. And you'll remember the Hilton pulled the sheet over the balcony that said $75 room nights. They were never more busy. So we were very lucky. So from there, our careers, our careers moved in different directions, but we certainly stayed together. So I'm going to jump to 2016, if I may. It's a big jump. I moved from Greater Ventures, Quicksilver Dive, went to Channel 7, started up my own business, and we were still great mates. But our friendship was about to take on a new direction. I was a second-year president of the Leukemia Foundation in Cairns in 2016, and our biggest event was coming up at Cannon Park. It was the IGA Race Day. It was a fabulous day. We raised thousands of dollars. I needed an MC, and I thought, who's witty, can hold a crowd, work a room, and loves his horse racing? I thought of Ronnie, but I thought Bastion. Anyway, I rang him up. I said, Robbie, I've got a proposal for you. He said, okay, yes, good. I'd like you to be the MC at the IGA Race Day. It's in May, roughly May, and there's about 200 people go. We auction off a few items, about 40 or 50 items, raise a heap of money, eat some lunch, have a drink, good fun. You'll meet new people. He goes, yeah, I might be away. I said, well, it's got a TAB and we have our own bookie. Lock me in. So anyway, I said, look, I'll ring you with more details. Anyway, 3 days before the event, I rang him up. Robbie, slight changes for Saturday. Sure, mate, he said. We now have 380 people and I have 80 auction items for you to do. The phone went silent. Yeah, okay, JR, can you help me? Of course I will. I'll be your barrel girl. That's not a problem. Robbie, I'm going to sit you on the front table and I'm going to have you sit with Lou Piccone. And you know who Lou Piccone is? And he said, really? The Lou Piccone of Edmonton IGA? I said, yeah, mate, the Godfather himself. He'd never met Lou before, so he got really excited. This was fantastic. They sat together and they were like two kids. Oh, it was just fantastic. Lou is a real character. If you hadn't met him, or if you had met him, you knew exactly what he was like. He was a champion for the community. Unfortunately, we've lost him, and the business has now been sold off, and Peter and John are doing their own thing. So he was our patron. Sorry, Peter Blackburn, there is another patron in Cairns. So they had a great time. Anyway, at the end of the day, we're sitting there, we've counted everything. I hadn't told Robbie how much we raised, and he said he was wrecked. I thought I'd killed him. His feet were sore. He did everything. He just had a great time. And he said, how much have we raised? I said, $90,000. And he leaned over to me, looked me in the eye and said, lock me in for next year, Johnny. So yeah. He was unbelievable. So the following 2 years, he did it with Mark Ryan, and you remember what it was like. It was a huge day, a lot of fun. And after the first one, I called him on the Wednesday. I said, Robbie, how are you? He said, oh, I'm still a bit tired. He sounded tired, you know, his feet were still a bit sore. I said, I've got a proposition for you. He went silent again. No, I said, you'll love this. Join me as an MC in the sports arena for the State of Origin Series 1, 2 and 3 at the Reef Hotel Casino, upstairs in the arena. You've been up there, you know what it's like. It's fantastic. He said, what do? I said, we just put shit on people. And we give away prizes, and you're New South Wales, I'm a Victorian, but I'll have my Queensland shirt on, and, You know, it'd be a lot of fun. He said, "Oh, do we get paid?" I said, "Paid? You'll earn a lot more than what you blow on a night there, mate, let me tell you. And can I have a drink?" I said, "Yes." And next to the stage is a TAB, so another hook. I've got him. So this became, the State of Origin became his new stage. This started a new life for Robbie. So we did 3 years of that together, and we had a lot of fun. He was so analytical and so knowledgeable on the NRL, it was unbelievable. He just basically took over. He would play, he would do trivia questions and everything, and I'd just stir things up, you know, like, what else do I do? So I was a troublemaker. Now, one night, and this was early, and he wasn't quite used to my antics, when 2 young Japanese men walked into the arena with 2 massive Woolworths bags full of Tim Tams, and they sat right in the middle of the auditorium there. I said, "Robbie, you watch this." Anyway, one of them, they opened up, they're sitting there, Tim Tams. One of them gestured to me and said, "Can you look after our bags? We want to go to the toilet." "Not a problem, buddy. I don't like Tim Tams." So in they go. I said, "Rob, come on, let's go." So we grabbed the Tim Tams and we handed them out to 200 people. And there's Robbie sitting right in the middle of it, eating away. When they walked back in, I walked away. Well, they were in hysterics. The whole place erupted. So that was his initiation, and that's what we did. We had a lot of time doing that. But from there, Robbie became a regular feature at the casino, doing members' draws, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. He just absolutely loved it. He was widely respected by the casino staff, the management, and of course the members who really put the money on the tables and down the slots. And as I said, he worked out it was better to work at the casino and get paid and leave with money. So he was really happy, and he probably spent it here. So, you know, it's recycling, isn't it? He loved being an MC, and we did a few gigs. Well, he did a few gigs. I could ring him up and say, "Robbie, I can't do this one." It might have been a fete or a fair or whatever happens down in Cairns, a festival and so forth. He would do it. But it was starting to, his feet were really starting to hurt, and he found it quite hard to be on his feet for 3 or 4 hours. So he said, "This has really opened up a whole new world for me, JR." And I said, "Well, basically, I've broadened your horizons, Robbie, haven't I?" So it was really good. So I'll be doing the State of Origin next Wednesday night. I'm going to miss him like hell. I still do it. It's fantastic. Our last gig together was, when did you get married, Andrew? 20, you can't remember, Tash. And Robbie and I were the MCs, and the shirt I'm wearing was a tropical theme. I rang him up and said, "Mate, I'll get the shirts. They're from Hawaii. They're real genuine ones, and you can see him wearing them as well." And he was, you know, fantastic. He just took over and he danced all night. So I wear this in honour of you today, my friend. So just in closing, there's been a million laughs, million memories. To Jesse and James, from my family, our heartfelt condolences to you both. You were the tingle in his eye. He loved his grandchildren. He cherished everything. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I head off, our walk in life is a highway which has many twists, turns, dips, speed humps, hills to climb, and deep down slopes and long stretches in our journey. We meet people along the way. Tonight, when your head hits the pillow, some a bit harder than others, just thank God that you met Rob Bastion. Thank you.
Good stuff, JR. Okay, time for a little break of sorts. We are going to hear a few tales from afar. Tales from afar from people that couldn't be here. Roll the tape.
Hi everybody there. Here we are in South America, and of course our good friend and great mate and great friend of the industry, Robbie Bastion, would have been with us on this trip, but obviously it wasn't to be. We just wanted to pay our respects to Robbie and all his friends and family and say hello to everyone back home. Robbie was a great mate to everybody here. He always represented our region very, very well, and was very, very quick to help anybody help where they needed it. He was a great bloke. We're going to miss him a lot, and I just wanted to say, on behalf of everybody here in South America, we're really missing him, and we will continue to miss him for quite some time to come. Ben?
Look, yeah, I haven't got a lot more to say. I think Brian really said it all. I think it's been a huge loss to all of us in the industry, you know, particularly up in Cairns and Great Barrier Reef region. You know, Robbie was a legend to so many of us. I know he was a mentor to myself and many others in the industry, just in his way of just sharing his knowledge and sharing his passion, and you know, great stories that would always make us chuckle. But it has been somber to some degree on this trip to obviously know that there's a big gap where Robbie would have been. But we've all got through it, and we know that he's been with us in spirit this whole journey. So I think we'll all say,
here's to Robbie.
here's to Robbie.
Here's to Robbie.
Hi Robbie, this is Peter Cryan, and I'd rather be sending this video to you than about you. Mate, you are the consummate professional in the tourism industry in North Queensland, and that's exactly where they got that definition from, the consummate professional. You helped me and Jackie in the success of Coral Sands when we took it over in the 1990s. You took me on a European mission and opened so many doors to me, and the way you are held in esteem by those people over there, I was in awe of. We had a fabulous trip, and one of my great memories was sitting in a bar in Innsbruck, talking to this young lady, this blonde, beautiful lady, and both you and I were absolutely sure that it was Claudia Schiffer. To this day, we don't know whether it really was, but anyway, we had a wonderful time, and you opened, as I said, you opened many doors for me. Also, look, mate, all I can remember is those wonderful photos of you sitting at Lunico's of an afternoon having your Chardonnay with Trinity Beach in the background, plus the fabulous photos that you sent all the time of the sunsets and the sunrises. Robbie, thanks for everything. You've been a great mate and a great help. Thank you.
I have so many memories of Robbie. It's really difficult to narrow them down, but I think my overwhelming memory of him is huge kindness and love from my first visit to Australia, where I knew no one, I didn't know anything, to Tossers Awards for Best Hospitality in the middle of nowhere, him disappearing during a dinner at the 8 Bells and reappearing outside the window wearing a vintage World War II army helmet. Pure Robbie. His kindness and love when our daughter was born, reflected again when life, as it does, throws you a bit of a curveball. I will be forever grateful that he was part of my life. I will miss him hugely, and the world is a much sadder place without him in it. Cheers, my friend, and thank you for the memories.
Well, good afternoon everyone, and hello from London. I first met Robbie in 1999 at a pre-ATE event, and before the event Brian Hennessy had warned me that these Queensland blokes, they like a drink or two. Well, I don't remember much about the afternoon, but I do know that for the rest of that week and ever since, Robbie was part of my life. He was a good mate. Whenever he was in the UK, we'd always try and meet up at the Stanhope Arms in Gloucester Road. He'd keep me entertained all night with his funny stories, his wise counsel, always a big grin and far too many beers. I really miss those nights, but I will forever treasure the memory of them. So here's to you, Robbie. God bless you, and the receipt's in the post.
I just wanted to pay a really heartfelt tribute for Robbie Bastion. He'll be so sorely missed. Such a great guy, so welcoming to arrive at ATE and see his beaming face and his infectious enthusiasm, just for people, but for Australia and for far North Queensland. His contribution, along with all the other guys from far North Queensland, in getting Australia on the map in the UK will never be forgotten. The guy was an absolute legend, and all my love to his family and to all his workmates who will sorely miss him. And he He was a real friend of the UK, and we'll miss him very much.
I met Robbie around 22 years ago at the 8 Bells in Chipping Campden with the lovely Ronnie Livingston and Stainless Steel. After many wines, and I have a random memory of a knight's helmet, Robbie asked me to marry him. Now, I'm under no illusion that I was the only marriage proposal during his time, and it soon transpired he just wanted me for my surname. So from that day on, he became known to me as the future Mr. Robbie Williams. I haven't worked in Australian tourism now for over 15 years, but Robbie remained a constant in my life, always there with his wise words, sometimes not so wise words. And he was a true friend, and for that I will always be grateful. It's too early for wine right now, but I've already raised several glasses to you, Robbie, and maybe I will meet you at the altar in the next life. Until then, keep the wine chilled and enjoy the sunsets. Love you. The future Mrs. Robbie Williams.
That's great. Thanks for tuning in from afar, and great to be getting comments from all over the world, from Craig Wickham, Lucy Callio, Ruben De La Fuente and Dallas Newton, just to name a few. It is a pleasure to welcome the next guest speaker, the Field Sales Manager for Norwegian Cruise Line Australia, former Director of Sales at Tangalooma Resort. Robbie would refer to him as Rockstar, and my personal cruise consultant. Would you please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Craig McLaurin.
I'd work out how to talk out of my belly button. Where's the road?
Craig, I believe you did your first sales trip, international sales trip with Robbie.
I did. It was back in 2008. David James, who's in the middle of the room there somewhere, DJ said to me at ATE in Perth, pardon me, mate, I'm going to send you over to the US with Robbie Bastion. And I thought, oh, okay, that sounds good, fun, trip away. I'd never met Robbie before. And he brought Robbie over about 10 minutes later. We had a quick chat. About 2 weeks later, we had a quick phone call, and he said, right, I'll meet you in Seattle. Great, fantastic. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, when I arrived in Seattle, there was Robbie at my hotel waiting for me. Oh, I just thought I'd wander past and see if you were here. And sure enough, there I was. By the way, mate, tonight in the bar downstairs, they're having a trivia competition. You and I are going to enter it because we'll know more than any of these fucking Americans. Because all they know about is what happens within their borders, right? So we'll shit on these guys, absolutely. Okay, mate, that sounds really, really good. So at the appointed time, actually about half an hour before the appointed time to get the pre-lubrication going, we arrived at the bar, set up for the trivia competition. And one of the things I'll say about Robbie is very often he's always right. Americans only know about what happens within their borders. And that's exactly what the trivia was all about. So we finished a very distant 15th out of 16th. And so cemented what for me has been a very, very special friendship over the last, what we talk about, 17 years.
And some of the adventures from that trip?
We haven't got all night, but we'll try and go through a few. And actually it's been great that I've been reminded of a couple, but just on that one trip, it was a 3-week trip. We went to Corroboree. We had a death-defying bus ride over the fault lines in around Malibu and Thousand Oak and so forth, with the bus going over the side and Robbie swearing profusely at the driver from the front seat. We went to a fabulous event at Swain's, summer bonding. Ian Swain had his summer bonding on, and from there we met Ralph Hadsick. And if people don't know who Ralph Hadsick is, you will know who he was on TV. He was Fat Cat. He was actually the guy in the suit. And he was also a cameraman, and he had connections with Jimmy Buffett. Yeah. And the following night in Chicago, he was going to be one of the cameramen filming a Jimmy Buffett concert for a video release later that year and so forth. So there was half a dozen. I said, oh, can you get us tickets? Let me see what I can do. So the next day, we fly to Chicago. Peter Raskin had very graciously got Robbie and I some tickets to see the Cubbies at Wrigley Field. We were staying at the Hard Rock Hotel, and I had a live porn show going on outside my window. So I didn't see Robbie for a while, but that was a different story. Then we go out to Soldier Field where this concert's on, and there is a massive trailer park party going on in the car park since 9 a.m. that morning. We didn't know about that, or we'd have been there. So we catch up with Ralph, and he's got us backstage passes We walk up onto the back of the stage. We then go up into hospitality. We've got seats 19 rows from the front. The show was incredible. Robbie became a parrot head that night, which is the name of Jimmy's fans. We then, Ralph said to us, meet me down the front at the end of the show and I'll get you out of here. Oh, okay. So Ralph meets us, takes us backstage, takes us into one of Jimmy Buffett's tour buses where we're drinking Jimmy's Land Shark beer for about 2 hours before they find a golf cart with a giant plastic shark on the top of it to drive us through the thousands of people waiting for a taxi. Your taxi's waiting for you, and sure enough it was. And all I could think about with that experience was that is the sort of thing, in hindsight particularly, that's the sort of thing that happened when you travel with Robbie. These really odd, strange, incredible things happened, and that happened more than once, but that was one of the most memorable.
Some good, some bad.
Some good, yeah, exactly. And then the following morning, we were flying back to Los Angeles, and we were in Chicago airport, and the 2008 Olympics were starting, and it's the only time in my life I've been paged to an aircraft, because if you remember the 2008 Olympics, there was a guy running around the inside of the stadium with the flame, and he lit the flame. It was a big special effect. We wouldn't leave the bar, or Robbie wouldn't leave the bar until the flame was lit. Jumped on the plane, flew to Los Angeles.
Made a personal cruise consultant, quite a title. What's all that about?
Yeah, so as you said before, Paolo, working for NCL at the moment. My beautiful wife Donna and I were up here about 4 years ago, and Robbie was asking me about, what's this cruise business, mate? I've never been on a cruise. It's a good time. Yeah, mate, it's fantastic. You should do one. And being a good sales exec, I reached into my bag and pulled out a brochure, popped it on the table in front of him and said, mate, have a bit of a look through and so forth. He goes, oh, this is all right. What's included in it? I said, well, you get all your meals, your accommodation, your travel around, so forth. And you also get a beverage package.
He was in.
Sold. So, as it turned out, we booked him on his first cruise on Norwegian Breakaway in the Caribbean, leaving from Miami in August of that year. Little 5-night cruise, but a bit of a taster for him, which I think he really, really enjoyed.
And 4,000 people on a cruise ship and Robbie Bastion.
3,999 and Robbie Bastion, yeah, exactly. He assimilated pretty well, actually. Donna and I were actually in the States as well, and we were flying from Chicago to Nashville that day. And I got a text message at the airport at 12:45 saying, fuck, this is a big ship. I got on at 11:30. It's now 1:45. The band's about to come on and I'm 3 drinks in. Do I really get all my drinks included? Yeah, mate, you're going to get all your drinks included. You're going to go fucking broke! Pleased to say that we're still here. He did his best, though.
And did he leave a legacy? I'm sure he must have.
He left a tremendous legacy. I mean, one of the great things, he did a 5-day cruise, and as fate would have it, Donna and I were on the same ship 2 days after he got off. And he sent me a text once he got off, and he just said things like, mate, this was fantastic, really loved it, want to do another one. Sadly, we never got to get him on another one, but we did try, but couldn't get him there. But he said, but when you go to the bars, you've got to go to this bar, you've got to go see this great show, this Fleetwood Mac show. Make sure you say hello to Francesco, the barman, from me. Okay. So we go into that. There's 15 bars on the ship. We go in there, and the first night, there's Francesco with his name tag on, with the serving at the bar. And I said, oh, Francesco, you don't know me, but a friend of mine was on the last cruise. Oh, who was that? His name's Robbie. Ah, Mr. Robbie! 9 out of 15 bars I got the same reaction from. So to say he left a legacy, I think, is pretty true. And one of the things I was happiest about was that I was able to get him a good rate on that cruise and so forth and pay back some of the beautiful stuff he did for me over the years, and he had a really great time, which was fantastic. Oh, can I just share one more story? And it relates to the Olympics, and that was when we did that flight from Chicago back to LA. The first night of the games was being beamed back to America, and we went to a sports bar in Manhattan Beach, just south of LA, and Robbie had decided to wear an American flag bandana. I don't know why, but he had. Now, the 2008 Olympics was significant for a number of reasons, but my main reason was Michael Phelps. Peter Phelps was an actor. Michael Phelps was trying to win 8 gold medals, most that anyone had ever won, and he ended up doing that. But this was the first night of finals. Robbie's there in the bandana, suffice to say, lubricated pretty well again. And I think an Australian won one of the events before Phelps competed in his first final. That set him off. You've got a drunk Australian wearing an American flag bandana in an American sports bar where they're hyped up about Michael Phelps. He wouldn't beat an Australian if there was one in the field. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die here. But it was pure Robbie. There's so many people in here that have got more stories than I have about Robbie, but I think we could talk for hours about it. But it was a wonderful experience travelling with him. He means a hell of a lot to me. He means a lot to Donna and I. We actually wanted him as our MC at our wedding, but he couldn't make it for health reasons. But he's a true legend. And again, charge your glasses. Wish you all the best for Robbie. He's an absolute legend. Cheers.
Thank you, Craig. This gentleman was a chippy that fell into tourism with perfect timing. With Robbie at his side, he and his brother were able to build a reputable coach company, which Robbie represented for many years to the world. Mr. Jack Daniels, together with some home-baked Anzac cookies, quickly became an enjoyable part of their travel industry itineraries. Now a man of leisure, in retirement, and to share with us some insights, please welcome to the stage Mr. James Dixon.
And if I didn't think it was worth one single try, I'd jump right on a big bird. And then
James, tell us about your first trip to North America.
Look, I was blessed to fall into the tourism industry, as you indicated, and blessed to fall into the tourism industry in this region. The reality is this is, without a doubt, and still is one of the most prolific tourism regions in the country. Probably one of the greatest things was getting to know Robbie because of it. But yeah, I was very fortunate to get to become friends with Robbie and Toddy, and my very first trip to the US was with Robbie and Toddy, and I probably don't have to say too much more. But I can remember flying into New York. It's the first time I'd ever flown into, or ever been to the States, and flew into New York. Toddy and I arrived about 10:30, quarter to 11 at night. Robbie had arrived at about lunchtime. He'd already had a few, obviously, and he was in bed. Didn't stop Toddy, just saying, hey, we're here. And Robbie's call was, see you in the foyer in 10, we'll have a nightcap. We were staying at the Hilton Midtown on 6th Avenue, and we just walked around the corner to one of Robbie's favourite haunts, which was it's actually called the Irish Pub on 7th Avenue. And we walked in there, and as Robbie always did, it's like, righto, big dick, what are you having? It's like, I'll have whatever you're having, Robbie. And that was the first time I'd ever had a Jack Daniels and Coke. And being the US free pour system, there was about that much Jack Daniels and about that much Coke. And needless to say that the nightcap ended up being a walking out of there at 4 a.m, or actually not walking out, we were escorted out by the owner. And actually Heels and I were laughing about it the other day. Every time Robbie walked out of that pub, because he walked out of there quite often, he would make the comment, I feel like I've just supported the IRA, which is pretty true. But being the legend he was in the foyer at 8 a.m. ready to go, and he really did. He opened some amazing doors for me, or for our organisation, that I could never have wished to have opened. He got our product across the line like you wouldn't believe, as did Toddy. I got a lot to thank those two guys for. But we had a shitload of fun. We really did. As you can see from the photo up the top left-hand corner, I put that there just to make sure that you understood we did work. But we also enjoyed ourselves.
Robbie was with you working for a number of years. That would have been a fun period, to say the very least.
It was. Robbie joined us in '96. He used to call us a good sports in tourism, for the obvious reasons, but it was an exceptional time. I loved working with him. I loved travelling with him. And he was just an exceptional gentleman. But the amazing thing was, the time that he worked with us, we had a bucket load of product. We had, 25 different products to Coranda. We had Cape Trib, we had Alice Springs, Ayers Rock, we had Desert Venturer, backpacker products running across through the desert, whatever. Robbie never did one for mil on any one of those products.
for the 4 years that he worked for us. He seriously didn't. I mean, all of us here that have been in sales, we would all know that knowledge is power, right? Not in Robbie's case. Robbie's case was, I know them, they know me, and they'll put us in the program, and that's pretty much what happened. So Robbie didn't need to do for Mills.
I love it.
That's the relationships he had. So the man was a legend.
Deco, he was partial to your cooking, I'm led to believe as well. Anzac cookies with special butter. What's all that about? Spill.
He was, well, actually, funny you say that, because for Robbie, food really got in the way of drinking. It was overrated for Robbie, but no, he was. I mean, that first slide that came up when I was there, that was just he and I in Sydney. We thought it'd be a great idea to put on a full-blown 3-course dinner for our top inbound clients. And he was the maitre d', I was the cook. It was a really great idea until the first night. Robbie was out doing calls, I was home cooking. He'd come back in at 3 o'clock, here we go, Big Dick. It's like, mate, you are cancelling the rest of your calls and you're here with me tomorrow. But no, as far as the Anzac cookies go, ATE, we always had a little bit of a tradition, I guess. We'd get in 3 or 4 days before ATE and we'd just have a mate's catch-up. And it was the first night in generally, and you know what happens on a sales trip first night in. But I baked some cookies with some special butter. The butter was sourced by a gentleman who will remain nameless, Chris McKinley, and he got it from the Hells Angels. He got it from the cows high in the hills. Something like that. Yeah, the Highland cows. But yes, we just put the cookies on the table and we actually cut them in half. And we just said, guys, when they walked in, guys, have a cookie or have half a cookie. Would suggest you don't have any more. That night, Robbie was more partial to the cookies than he was the pizza. And I'm not quite sure how many he had, but he was just hilarious. It was the funniest night you could ever want to be around Robbie Bastion. He didn't need cookies to be funny, we know that, but I don't know if you've ever seen Robbie on cookies, but wish you had. Because the guy was just hilarious. But the funny thing was, when the night was over, he walked downstairs he went downstairs with Toddy, and he got downstairs and his brain's ability to communicate with his legs had left him. He took hold of a step on North Avenue in a shop, and Toddy'd hailed a cab, and it's like, come on, Robbie, you got tosses tomorrow, mate. We need you to get in the cab. And we still laughed about it all the time. We'd catch up with Robbie and have a beer, because his reply to Toddy was, save yourself, Toddy, save yourself. I'll be right here, mate. I'll take him head on, mate. Don't you worry about me. But anyway, funnily enough, he got him in the cab, he got him home, and as he always did, he pulled off tosses like you wouldn't believe, a true legend with him and Hills. He did walk past me at one stage and say, you and your fucking cookies, never again. But no, the guy was an absolute legend. And I just want to say in closing that I was in awe of Robbie Bastion in so many different ways. His ability to work a room was like no other person I've ever met. He'd walk into a room like this, or ATE Welcome, or wherever. He'd inject himself into a conversation, whether you wanted him there or not. Within 20 seconds, he'd have you all laughing. He'd address every person. He'd spend 2.5 minutes with you, and then he'd move on to the next group of people, and he'd do the same. And by the end of the night, everybody thought they spent the night with Robbie Bastion, and that's just who he was and what he was. He was a magnificent man that I hold in the highest of regards. And to James and Jess, my heart breaks for you, because I know it breaks for all of us. There will only ever be one Robbie Bastion. The mould's been broken, and God bless you, mate. So, thank you.
Thank you, James. We now get to hear from some more tales from afar. Roll the tape.
This is Al Mershon in Los Angeles, and I get to reflect on Robbie's life and influence. After several decades of working with the Australian travel community, it was Robbie who reached out and truly wanted me to become completely bilingual. And now when I look back at the dictionary he gave me, I realize the terms like fair dinkum, good on ya, and most importantly, true Aussie bloke, all had his picture next to it. As he goes on to the next world, I realize Robbie gets what he always wanted, the perpetual lie flat seat. Robbie, rest in peace, and thanks for all the memories.
G'day everyone. When I first arrived in Cairns about 27 years ago, Robbie was one of the people I met very early on, one of the original hunt and pack crew, sell the destination first, work the relationships, and importantly, have fun along the way, have lots of fun along the way. I mean, really have some serious fun along the way. And Robbie certainly did that. My couple of memories of Robbie were firstly of the planning and success of the Paradise Found Roadshow. I wish I could have gone on that. Such an amazing initiative. To this day, probably the best industry initiative that I've seen in all my time at TNQ and Tourism Australia. The other two things I remember were the launch of the Lost in Continents Tales in Adelaide. I think it was the night of the ATE welcome function. Fantastic event, Robbie the star, signing books at the launch and never quite making it to the ATE welcome function. The other was a rather infamous Down Under Tours ATE party. It could have even been the same ATE where I last recall Robbie wandering around with a cardboard box on his head. That was an excellent night, and those of you who were there will remember that. That was the fun side of Robbie, but I also remember someone who knew his markets, his partners, and absolutely loved what he did, and people loved him. We seriously need more Robbies in this industry. They're few and far between these days. Robbie, thanks for the memories. I'll be picking up your book for a reread and a laugh in the coming days. I couldn't do this without a glass of wine. Cheers, mate.
Hi, I'm James Laval, and I was with the ATC in the USA from 1998 to 2002. I met Robbie at the first Aussie Trading Post more than 30 years ago, and over the next 11 years, across numerous other trading posts, ATEs, Aussie Specialist Conventions, and countless US invasions by he and Todd Parker, we formed a solid bond and close friendship. That was an exciting time, made all the more vibrant and colorful by what seemed to be his constant presence in the US market. FNQ is a unique destination with unique personalities, and no one embodied that more than Robbie. He sold the tropical north with a dedication rarely seen. Always loyal, rarely misfiring, and frequently profane, Robbie made an impression and an impact on the U.S. market that will not be forgotten. He was a living legend and will be missed greatly by the old school Aussie crew here in the USA. Please raise a beer for me in his memory today.
Hello, everybody. This is Kieran Keady in Tustin, Orange County, Southern California. Andrew's asked me to make this little video about our friend Robbie Bastion. What do I say about somebody that I've known since 1987, maybe before. I started as the hotel rep for the Telford Hides Hotel in Cairns, and got to know tourism pioneers for the area like Graham Gordon and Moss Hunt and Robbie and Michael Keeley and Todd Parker, and we became fast friends over the years, and we tried to meet up anywhere and everywhere we could worldwide. I moved to Australia in 1992 to 95 and spent a lot of time with Robbie, and I'm just privileged to have called him a dear friend. Just so people understand, before the internet, it was all about getting pages and travel brochures. When I started, the only thing in an American travel brochure for Australia was a red carpet Ansett Pioneer coach tour from Sydney to Canberra to Melbourne. By the late 80s, Robbie and the gentleman I've mentioned and other people, Don and Judy Freeman, got their products into millions of pages around the world and basically changed an itinerary for leisure visitors to Australia to include Cairns and Port Douglas in every trip, and as a must-do. And soon Continental Airlines started landing planes there from the United States, Qantas, etc. And an industry took off. I suppose from a business point of view, it enriched the tax revenues and coffers of the Shire of I forget the Shire's name that Kansas in, and the city in Port Douglas, and the growth that took place. So these guys all have played a critical part of it. I don't think they enriched themselves as much as they did the areas in the real estate that you all live in. But I miss Robbie, and we had a date to see each other this September that, alas, he's not going to make. He was something else. We shared a love of the written word, a turn of a phrase, the odd characters we knew around the world, and there'd be some funny people. I even got him up on stage to sing Hank Williams' "Your Cheatin' Heart" one night in Nashville, Tennessee, that he never forgave me for. But anyway, we called him the Dark Prince, or King Chardonnay. I had many a hangover thanks to Robbie Bastion, but I will miss him dearly, and I'm richer for having known him, and I think we all are. And so, good night, sweet Prince.
Standing here in Hobart, overlooking the Derwent River, but my thoughts are 3,500 miles north to Robbie and his family and friends. Always enjoyed catching up with Robbie. He was a legend of tourism. Easy to work with, terrific knowledge, so helpful to everyone, and read people beautifully. I really admire the way he saw right through me. He'll be missed by so many. Rest in peace, Robbie.
Hey, Pharaoh, I've come for God's people. You have to let them go. And if you say no, you're in for a show. I've got 10 plagues that will screw Egypt for years. Don't make me angry. The first one dries up your beer.
Beer? Dries up my beer? Come on, Noah, don't get your nuts in a knot. Why don't you go and wander the desert for 40 years, but bloody hell it'll be hot. And as for the slaves, I'll have a look at them. You can have them, they're no use to me. Tourism's a hard bloody game, mate, just you wait and see. I can tell you, if it wasn't for the drugs and the beer, it wouldn't be for me.
Right, come on guys, we're out of here.
And so it came to be that Moses and the Israelites wandered the desert for 40 years, much like an APT Central Australian tour.
Hi everyone, I'm Ruth Grau.
And I'm Warren Grau with Springboard Vacations here in California. We've known Robbie for more than 30 years.
May your memories bring you comfort. I've thought a lot about that statement this week as I've sifted through my own memories of Robbie.
Robbie would always come to our home for dinner whenever he was in LA. I'd cook him steak and potatoes, no veggies of course, and he'd always bring a flower for our daughter Bridget. She's known him since she was born. She always felt included. Robbie had a way of making everybody feel special.
Some of those nights were big red wine nights where we talked late into the night, and some of those were quiet nights where Robbie got to take a break from being larger than life.
To Jess and James, although I don't think we've met you, we kind of feel like we know you because Robbie talked about you so often. He was so incredibly proud of you and of your families.
Robbie lived a full life. He was rich in experiences, travel, friends, and life itself. We can't imagine trade shows or road shows without him. He was always a friendly face in the crowd. May we all find comfort in our memories of him today.
More comments from the live feed and keep them coming. Hello to Carly from Oka, and thanks for tuning in. We wish you were all here. Okay. A word now from a special friend that couldn't be with us today. However, he is celebrating just down the road, 2,000 kilometres away. Todd Parker, a name that we all know, and without a doubt, Robbie's closest comrade. Todd has asked me to read these words today in his absence, and I'll try my best. A farewell tribute to Robbie Bastion by Todd Parker. Robbie Bastion. Over the years, he had many names, but my favourite was Roberto Bastioni, a nickname we invented after a night in New York, drinking with some Italian mafia types in a bar. I also called him Bob or Dr. Bob. Don't ask me why, it just stuck. I first met Robbie in 1984, working at the Queensland Government Travel Centre at 149 King Street in Sydney. I was 17, almost 18. A young cadet, full of piss and vinegar. He was the new bloke, ex-New South Wales Department of Tourism, who had recently wrapped up a not-so-successful bread run in southern Sydney. Two big personalities, we clashed at first. But after about a month, we clicked, and from then on, we were inseparable. He made me his sidekick in groups and conventions, calling me his trainee prick. And just like that, let the games begin. And begin they did. We had hilarious times in Sydney and many nights out at St Clair with his kids, Jessica and James, and yes, the infamous Blue Cattle Dog Hotel. He moved to Cairns a year after I did, and we became something of a dynamic duo, travelling the world together. I knew Rob for 41 years. Through thick and thin, we stuck by each other. We shared hotel rooms, homes, and life. Probably clocked up about 16 years of living under the same roof. He was a great bloke, a fiercely loyal friend, a supporter of mine through life's highs and lows, and like an uncle to my kids. Like all great comedians, he had a dark side, but he always sought the humour in everything. A world-class shit-stirrer, deeply well-read, with rugged Aussie charm and a big personality. Rob was without a doubt the funniest man that I've ever met. He was passionate, intensely passionate, about promoting Australia and tropical North Queensland. And while he could be a stubborn bastard, he always made time to help the young ones coming up, a true pioneer in every sense. He was like a brother to me, and my family felt the same. I'll miss him dearly. Right, R.I.P. mate. Love you always. To round off proceedings, a shy, unassuming man, humble in approach but passionate in his delivery, and steadfast in showing his love of both the region and the community. Please welcome Michael Patrick Thomas Healy.
Thank you very much, Paolo. That was a lovely introduction, as usual. Look at Burnsy, swinging. Robbie, I remember that night. G'day, everybody. It's great. There's Parliament sitting and I'm here, so that's even better. Robbie got me out of that, which is terrific. Usually, when something like this happens, you sit down and you write a few words, but I knew being the last speaker, I really wouldn't have to write too much. I would just grab snippets of what everybody has said before. So let me begin by saying to John Redden, we are a far bigger organisation, John, than Ocean Spirit ever were. And that is reflected in our awards, and that is reflected in our sluggos.
That would be round two to Michael Healy. Round two to Michael Healy.
With the microphone. So I just listening to some of the stories, and everybody here knows Robbie so well, and there are so many wonderful stories. And as I look at Stainless, you remember that little Irish pub that we used to go to because they were looking at you. You were the only Englishman, and thinking, oh, will we let him out? And I did feel like we'd made a contribution. But Robbie's enthusiasm for life, and we all know how powerful it was, but his knowledge and his wisdom and his capacity to be able to articulate, even refined his and honed his skills to become as popular as he was. He was genuine, and like all of us, we have our faults, and we knew Robbie's faults. They were clear and they were obvious, but he still powered through, and I think they are some of the strongest attributes that he left us. And I know for Jess and James and for the grandkids, for Gail and for Vicky, it's an enormously tragic time, but it's a huge loss for all of us. And we were so lucky to have Robbie so close, and he was absolutely prolific. And there were just a couple of really short stories, but I'll never forget. We used to, when we travelled in the mornings, because the pubs weren't open, I'd say, Robbie, there's a museum here, or we could go to a bookshop somewhere. And I remember we were in Westminster Abbey, and we were walking along, and for those who've been there, the tombstones are all laid down, and you walk over the top of them, and Robbie goes, oh, there's a little crowd of Canadian kids with a couple of teachers. And I thought, oh, this will be good. We'd had a late night and I could smell the excitement of the night before coming off us. So Robbie's gone up there and there's the tombstone of Sir Walter Raleigh. Now, Sir Walter Raleigh was famous for a lot of things, but in Robbie's eyes, two things in particular. He introduced bungers to the Western world, cigarettes, and he also invented the push bike. So he then decided to tell these kids about riding a bike in the morning and sucking a bunger in the afternoon. The look on the face of these teachers was... so, needless to say, we moved on rapidly. The other interesting time was... and this is just absolute raw confidence, and it was so impressive. We were, this is in the late 90s, we were doing something in San Francisco, and we'd been out in the days where you had your flip chart, and you're right, back in the day, you'd sell your region, then you sell your product, and that was how we all used to sell it. And before the digital capacity came in, it was building those relationships, and he was fantastic. So we'd done a day of presentations. We'd gone back to the room, we dumped our gear, and we'd prepared ourselves for the night of intense engagement that Robbie had planned. And as we've gone downstairs, as we were heading out, the taxis are out here, there's a large ballroom off to the right, and there was a very healthy and athletic young girl carrying a tray full of vessels of happiness, as we referred to them back in the day. So Robbie has, instead of going out to get the cab, he's gone straight over. Within 2 seconds, he's grabbed 2 flutes of champagne. I've got one in my hand. And he's looked at me and said, let's check this gig out. We've walked into an event. Now, I know we've got a barrister here and some solicitors, and this might sound like I'm having a go at lawyers, but it only sounds like it, Tim. Anyway, this is an event where there were attorneys, American lawyers. And this guy comes up to Robbie and says, oh, how are you going? What are you up to? To my great shock, Robbie explained to this gentleman that we were in the arms game. And we were in the United States, and we were at this event to build stronger relationships and get an understanding of how the law worked, because we were having a few technical hitches. And he introduced me pretty much as he did with Todd. He's my little dickhead mate. And I was a little bit lost when this guy looked at me and he said, oh, what does a Kalashnikov cost? To which Robbie has said, well, since the fall of the Soviet Union, the market is flooded. I mean, are you talking about a Cuban made or a Czechoslovakian? I mean, by the time we left that event, seriously, we were half shot, and I think that was the purpose. We were half shot, stumbled out, and I swear there were 4 blokes about to buy an aircraft carrier off the Chinese. He was. And I have absolutely no doubt that every single one of us has a story about Robbie and about that, his confidence. And as Toddy touched on the fact that he had the dark side, you cannot have that much energy. And the family and those ones that love him and know him, that he needed to have that quiet time. But his capacity to build genuine relationships and his capacity to be able to help people. From a professional perspective, there is nobody like him in this part of the world. There is nobody who has put our region, our products on the map like he has in these key source markets. And when these days we talk about markets and development and all these sorts of things, I think of him, I think of Toddy and Dicko and Stainless and the range of other people, Moss Hunt going back to the early days. The amount of people, every single one of you in some way have contributed. But Robbie's contribution, I believe, is unprecedented. And whilst it's a profound loss, I think it's something we should be enormously happy about, to be able to say that we knew him, he was a good friend of ours, and he was a strong supporter, always in our corner. I remember ATE, after a tourism operator special services lunch, just sounds so much better, we carried him in to ATE, and I remember the security guards going, isn't that how you're meant to leave? Robbie embraced it. He embraced it. The enthusiasm, it was really quite unprecedented. In closing, I note that when we were walking through some of the museums we used to do, we came across a particular headstone, and he called me over and he said, have a look at that. I think I'll have a swig. And it's, I can't remember the name, but I will go and find out who it was. But it said, he called me back and he said, yeah, let's have a look at that. And it said on the tombstone, he was a good man. And he just looked up and he said, that's all you got to say. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert William Bastion. Cheers.
Well done, Michael. And well done to all our speakers. Could you please put your hands together to all of them? They've done a fantastic job. Great job. Not too many wet eyes in the room, and I'm sure that's exactly how Robbie would have loved it. Before finishing up, could I just call on Mr. Greg Ferguson just to say a few quick words?
Hi everyone, what a great turnout. Robbie would be truly chuffed to see so many people, so many of his mates and colleagues. When I look around, there's only one bloke who's not here, and that's him, unfortunately. But we're here to celebrate him. I would just like to say a big thank you to everyone who received an email from me directly or via an on-send that's helped contribute financially to today and to where Robbie ends up eventually. To Jessica and James, he is so loved, so many people have been so generous. We've achieved our goals. It won't be anything left for the family, and Robbie would be probably embarrassed to realise what the contribution has been. I think he would have the shits with me though for not putting a bar tab on, and I apologise. Here's to Robbie.
Good on you, mate. A big thank you to all those people that have tuned in for the live feed. It's been great to have you here in spirit. And a big debt of gratitude to a few really important people who've been really so busy since everything's occurred. Jessica and James, their patient partners, and all of Robbie's beautiful and much-loved grandchildren. A big thank you to Andrew Deneen and Andrew Sinclair, and Greg Ferguson and Peter Heap and Marnie Cadd. And ladies, and Marnie and Andrew, would you like to come out the front and stand with me? Do you want to come out here now? A big thank you to all of our guest speakers, Ronnie Livingston, Craig McLaurin, JR John Reardon, James Dixon, Michael Healy, Todd Parker, Andrew Steele for his input, Carla and the crew at Trinity Beach Tavern, thank you guys, and Maddie and Annie and the crew at Lunico Trinity Beach, which is where we're going to next. If you'd like to have a bite to eat, please make your way over there. You've got to press a button. Thanks, Andrew. And so with all of that, as Robbie would say, that's a wrap, and he would have said, cheers.
Shadows are falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you get up in the morning and you see that crazy sun, keep me in your heart for a while. There's a train leaving nightly called when all is said and done. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sometimes when you're doing simple things around the house, baby, you'll think of me and smile. You know I'm tied to you like the buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for a while. Hold me in your thoughts, take me to your dreams. Touch me when I fall into view. these wheels, they keep turning, but they're running out of steam. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Shadows are falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. Yeah, if I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Yeah, sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Keep me in your heart for a while.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, watch the screen. Ladies and gentlemen.
G'day international heavyweights, another beautiful day here in tropical North Queensland, and what a great day to invite you to a great gig. I've got my wonderful friend Robbie Bastion, the Dark Prince. Robbie really hasn't been himself since he got back from Uzbekistan. Got on a flight, wasn't even expecting to get there. Guys, the purpose of today's little
It's the one item. My piece of advice today is about time. It's the most important commodity that we have in our lives. No matter how long we live, we'll never have enough of it. It's the one item that we can't buy any more of. We have what we have. So it's important that we spend our time wisely, doing the things we love with the people we love, our friends, our family, our children.
Too late, got nothing in my brain. That's what people say. That's what people say. I go on too many dates, but I can't make them stay. At least that's what people say. That's what people say. But I keep cruising, can't stop, won't stop moving. It's like I got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be alright. 'Cause the player's gonna play, 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 and the haters gonna hate, 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 baby. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake it off, shake it off. Heartbreaker's gonna break, 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 and the faker's gonna fake, 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 baby. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake it off, shake it off. I never miss a beat. I'm lightning on my feet, and that's what they don't see. That's what they don't see. I'm dancing on my own, dancing on my own. Make the moves the best shake, shake. Yeah, 'cause the players gonna play, 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 and the haters gonna hate, 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 hate. Just gonna shake, 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 shake.